Okay. So that was convertible bonds. Convertible bonds. Next, we're gonna continue to the next section. So what will some company or yes, some companies, they offer a payment to the bondholders to induce or to persuade or to encourage conversion. So sometimes companies offer sweetener or payment to the debt holders or bondholders to encourage conversion. Because by converting the bonds, the company does not need to pay any cash, right? Then this spending, which is sweetener, is kind of expense for the company. So issuer wishes to encourage conversion, and then issuer offers additional consideration or additional payment called sweetener to induce conversion. And then the sweetener is actually an expense of the current period. So let's see an example here. The company Haloid has outstanding 1 million par value convertible bonds, and it is convertible into 100,000 ordinary shares, okay, with $1 par value. When issued, Haloid recorded share premium. When issued, Haloid recorded share premium conversion equity 15,000. This account, share premium conversion equity, is actually equity components of the convertible bonds, right? Jadi 15.000 ini adalah equity components. This 15,000 is equity components of the convertible bonds. And Haloid wishes to reduce its annual interest costs. Okay, so it needs to reduce the interest expense. To do so, Haloid agrees to pay the holders of its convertible debenture or convertible bonds an additional $80,000 if they will convert. Okay, so assuming conversion occurs, Haloid makes the following entry, because please remember the bonds was issued at par, right? Because the outstanding bonds is actually at par value, so no discount, no premium. So if the conversion occurs, we make the following entry. First, for the payment, 80,000 recorded as conversion expense. Okay, and then close the bonds component and the equity component of the convertible bonds. Okay, and because we convert this into common share, then we have to issue ordinary share capital, which is 100,000 according to the problem. And then the difference between what we have on debit side and credit side, we record as share premium ordinary. This problem is easy because we don't have any discount or premium on bonds. Otherwise, we have to take care that part. Okay. What next? Oh, of course, we have to spend the cash. We have to credit cash. Okay. Again, if you have any question, just stop me anytime. Don't wait until the end of the class. Now, convertible preference shares. Please, Fadli, if you don't mind, please read the presentation.
Convertible preferences include an option for the holder to convert preference shares into a fixed number of ordinary shares.
Okay, so it is a preference share, but it has specific feature which is convertible into common share. Next. Please, Fadli.
Convertible preferences are reported as part of equity.
Okay, it's quite clear.
When preferences are converted or reported, there is no gain or loss recognized.
Okay, because this is equity securities. We don't recognize gain or loss from equity transaction. This refers to the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, when we involve in equity transaction, we will not record any gain or loss. Instead, we record them as a share premium, right? Okay. Now let's see the example. Stephanie, if you don't mind, please read the examples.
Okay, so for the example, Morse AG issues 1,000 convertible preference shares that have a par value of €1 per share. The shares were issued at a price of €200 per share, and the journal entry to record this transaction.
Okay, can you guess? Issuance from
for the cash first. I think, yeah.
Then?
And then we could search for the share capital and share premium.
Okay, good. So stock issuance, last chapter, okay, previous lesson. Quite straightforward. Nothing important, nothing difficult in this part. And next, now if each share is subsequently converted into 25 each ordinary shares. So previously we have 1,000 preference share. And if each share is subsequently converted into 25 ordinary share with €2 par value, and the fair value of the common share is 410,000. So how to journalize this conversion? First of all, you have to remember we already record the share, the preference share. Okay, we have two accounts related to the preference share. First, the share capital itself and the share premium. Okay, and because now we convert the preference share, these two accounts must be closed. Okay, so we close share capital preference, and okay, 1,000, and we also close the share premium. Okay, and then we issue the common share. Okay, we issue the common share, which is 25,000 times €2 par value. Dari mana 25.000? Kan ini ada 1.000 preference share. Setiap satu preference share convertible menjadi 25 common share. So total common share-nya adalah 25.000. Kalau par value-nya adalah €2, jadi total share capital ordinary yang kita keluarkan adalah 500.000. Oh sorry, 50.000. 50.000. Ya. 50.000. Okay. And then the difference between the debit and credit side we record as the share premium ordinary. So what we're gonna do with this 410,000? In this case, in this conversion, in this situation, we don't use the fair value of the common shares, the 410,000. Ya karena sangat straightforward, kita tinggal close preference share, kita issue common share-nya. Sudah selesai. And the preference share previously already recorded at fair value kan. Artinya ini kan sudah fair value ini. Par value ditambah share premium ini kan sudah fair value of the preference share. Jadi there is no gain, there is no loss. Kemudian juga tidak kemudian ini menjadi 410. No. We keep the original value of the preference share. However, this 410 can be recorded when the transaction involving cash. Okay. So, for example, if the convertible preference share are repurchased, so it's like what you call the repurchase stock, the treasury share. Okay, treasury share. So, if you do treasury share for this preference share, jadi Anda melakukan transaksi repurchase of the preference share, then we spend cash, which is 410,000. So we credit cash for that number. Okay, and then we have to close the two accounts related to the preference share, which is share capital and share premium, okay, related to the preference share. Sorry. Okay, and the credit cash. Now, what we're gonna do with the difference between this, the consideration we paid, which is 410,000, compared to the value of the preference share, which is 200,000. So the difference will be adjusted to retained earnings. And according to the book, any excess paid above the book value of the convertible preference share is often debited to retained earnings. Kenapa begitu? Kenapa kita catat retained earnings? Semoga you masih remember dari previous lesson, kalau kita ada treasury share, kita beli treasury share, kemudian kita jual, kita akan catat itu share premium treasury share gitu kan ya. Kalau kita beli misalkan 100, contoh nih ya, kita beli pada cost 100, kemudian kita jual 120. Ini yang 20 kan kita catat sebagai share premium treasury share ini ya. Oke. So, kalau kemudian treasury share-nya kita jual lagi dengan harga di bawah cost, maka treasury share premiumnya kita pakai gitu kan untuk closing loss-nya gitu ya. Kita pakai untuk nutup kerugiannya. So once the share premium treasury share finish habis, kemana ini penyesuaiannya? Ke retained earnings kan gitu. So similar with this case actually, karena kita tidak punya share premium treasury share untuk saham preferen ini, begitu kita jual, kita beli lagi si treasury share dengan harga yang lebih mahal, kita maunya nyatet rugi, tapi kan nggak boleh, ini transaksi saham, nggak boleh ada rugi, transaksi ekuitas tidak ada rugi. Rugi itu ada di aset sama di liability, equity nggak ada rugi. Nah, ya kita sesuaikannya ke retained earnings. Oke. Second part, finish, done. Convertible bonds and convertible preference share. So let's move to the third part. It is warrant. Okay. Fadli, if you don't mind, please read.
Warrant are certificates entitling the holder to acquire shares at a certain price within a period.
Okay. So it is a certificate that gives the right to the holder to acquire shares at certain price within a stated period. So it's similar to a coupon. So if you have like a discount coupon from the supermarket, you can buy, you can use the coupon for your shopping. Of course, they have a specific period, and they give you a specific rate, a discount rate. So similar with warrant. Warrant is actually a certificate that gives you opportunity to buy stock, to buy shares with certain price in a specific period. And you can sell it. So you can sell this coupon, the warrant, you can sell the warrant. So normally this warrant arises under three situations. First, to make the security more attractive. So instead of issuing bonds alone, so just a common bonds, you can issue bonds plus warrant. Jadi daripada terbitkan bonds saja, supaya lebih atraktif, more attractive, you can issue bonds plus some warrant. So the bondholder can use the warrant to purchase the company's share, okay, with specific price. Okay. Our existing shareholders have a preemptive right to purchase ordinary share. So you can sell this warrant to existing shareholders because they have preemptive right. Preemptive right means the company should offer the new issue shares to the existing shareholders before offering this share to the new shareholders. Jadi sebelum ditawarkan ke investor baru, investor lama harus ditawarin duluan. Nah, how to execute that? Implement that right? You can give share warrants to the shareholders, to the existing shareholders. You can give it, or you can sell it to the existing shareholders. or it can be given to the executives and employees as a form of compensation. So you can give this coupon, quote unquote, or this warrant to the executives of the company, so they can purchase the company's share with a certain lower price, of course. Okay. Are there any information from your friend? Are they having difficulties in joining the class?
No, sir. They not replied my message.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the first case, share warrants can be issued with other securities. At again, for the to make it more attractive, to make it more interesting. So warrants issued with other securities are basically long-term option to buy ordinary shares at a fixed price. So again, it offers opportunity or right to the holders to purchase the ordinary shares at a fixed price. Generally, the life of warrants is 5 years, occasionally 10 years. So it's quite long-term securities. And then companies should use the with and without method to allocate the proceeds between two components. Again, because we issue a certain security, suppose bonds, and we add another securities, which is warrant. So when we sell it together, we have to classify which value goes to the debt, to the bonds, and which value goes to the what you call the warrant. Okay. Okay, let's see this example. Stephanie, please read the slide.
Okay, so at one time, Siemens AG issued bonds with detachable 5 years warrants. Assume that 5-year warrants provide the option to buy one ordinary share with par value €5 and at 25 euro.
Okay, stop at that point. Okay, stop at that point. So the company issued bonds. Okay, it issued bonds with warrant. Okay, detachable. Warrantnya bisa dijual terpisah, ya. Tapi ini digabung. Sebenarnya itu bisa dijual terpisah. Assume that 5-year warrant. So the warrant give you opportunity to purchase the price, the share at $25 at 25 euro within 5 years. Okay, please go on. Okay, at the time, an ordinary share of Siemens was selling for approximately 30 euro. So it becomes more attractive because by having this warrant, you can purchase at lower price. You can purchase the share at lower price. And this warrant enabled Siemens to price its bond offering with 10 million face value at par. Okay. Jadi dengan adanya warrant itu, Siemens bisa jual warrant bonds-nya itu at par. Oke. Pada saat itu yield-nya market market interest rate, ya, adalah 8.75%, quite bit lower than prevailing rates at that time. Jadi bunganya sih rendah, gitu, tapi dia bisa dapat harga pada nilai par. Harusnya kan pada harga diskon ya. Tapi dia jual bisa pada harga par karena ada fitur tambahan gitu, ada warrant. Okay. In this example, Siemens was able to sell the bonds plus warrant for 10,200,000. Okay. And to account for the proceed from this sale, Siemens uses the with and without method. Using this approach, Siemens determine the present value of the future cash flow related to the bonds. Jadi perhitungan present value of bonds-nya still applicable. You have to apply the Chapter 14 requirements. Present value of the principal plus present value of the annual interest. Then you can arrive, or you can get the present value of the bonds, which is 9,700,000 euro. Okay. So, fair value of the bonds with warrant adalah 10.200.000. Kemudian liability component yang diambil dari apa namanya ini, present value of bonds adalah 9 juta. Okay. So the equity component yang muncul dari warrant adalah 492,000. Okay, the bond sell at discount karena mungkin si Siemens provide lower rate than market. Okay, so Siemens will receive cash which is 10,200,000. Maaf. Sebenarnya bisa digabung tapi ini mau dipisah, oke lah ya. Jadi untuk bonds-nya sendiri 9.707.000 for the bonds only, for the bond component only, we record this entry, and then for the warrant we record the other entry. So actually the total cash received from selling the bonds plus warrant is 10,200,000. Jadi total cashnya 10.200.000. Okay. According to the book, Siemens may combine those entries if desired. Okay. But here we show them separately to indicate that the purchaser of the bonds is buying not only a bond but also the warrant. So, assuming investors exercise all 10,000 warrant, okay, and one warrant for one ordinary share. Okay. They exercise the right. Okay, mereka kan udah pegang kuponnya tuh. Sekarang mereka mau tebus itu kupon, mau pakai kuponnya. So they will pay. They can pay the stock or the share at berapa tadi? 25 euro. Okay, so the company will receive cash from the investors, which is 10,000 share times 25. And then if you remember the warrant part, which is 492,000, ini you have to close it. Okay, so you issue the share, ordinary share, which is 10,000 times the par value, which is the par value of share, it is 5. And then the share premium is computed by subtracting the debit side with the credit side with the share capital. Okay. So, according to the book, the standard setter indicates that companies should separate the debt and equity component of securities, such as convertible bonds issued with warrant. So you have to separate these two components. And we agree with that because we have to take care of this convertible bond differently from the original or from the single bonds. And okay. What if the company issue share right? So share right, existing stockholders have the right or the preemptive right to purchase newly issued shares in proportion to their holdings. So actually this right is protected by law. Okay, this right is granted by law. So the existing shareholders must be prioritized before new shareholder when the company issue a new shares. But this right, because this right is granted by law, so shareholders will not pay any extra cash or any extra price to the company. No extra price, no extra cash you receive from the shareholders. Okay, for this you don't need to do anything because it's part of the law. Kan ini bagian dari permintaan hukum, jadi you don't need to record anything. So every single existing shareholder, they have preemptive right by law. So you don't need to record anything. Okay. Okay. So let's do some practice exercise then to make it more clear for us. So let me share the. Okay. So I copied this question from the book. So let's do this practice exercise. Archer Incorporation, Archer Company issued 4 million par value 7% convertible bonds at 99 for cash. So 4 million is the face value of the bonds, right? 7% is the nominal interest rate. Okay. 99 is the fair value of the bonds. 99 means 99% for cash. Okay, so Archer will receive 99% from 4 million. Okay, 99% of of 4 million. The net present value of the debt, which is comprises of two: net present value of the principal and net present value of the interest. Without equity components, without conversion feature, is 3.8 million. Okay, so prepare the journal entry to record the issuance. Okay, first of all, the company will receive cash. Okay, no doubt. The company received cash, which is 99% of 4 million. Okay. Right. And then you record the bonds component. Credit bonds. How much? For how much, Fadli?
The bond is 3,800,000.
Okay, 3.8 million. So the difference between these two, recorded as share premium conversion. Okay, I think it's not difficult. Okay. Next, the company has outstanding 1,000 bonds. My God, how to read this? Has outstanding 1,000 bonds. So the company has 2,000 bonds certificate. Okay, 2,000 share or 2,000 bond certificate. And each certificate has nominal value of $1,000. Okay. So in total, the nominal value of bonds is 2 million, right? And each bond convertible into 50 shares. Each bond is convertible into 50 shares of $10 par value common stock. Okay. And the bonds are converted on December 31st, 2019. Okay. The bonds payable have carrying value according to the amortization table. The carrying value of bonds is 1.95 million. Okay, and there is conversion equity 20,000. So when the convertible bonds issued in the beginning, they record the share premium conversion equity, right? Like the first the first problem. Jadi ini conversion equity komponennya adalah $20,000. Okay, how to record the conversion using book value approach? So first, of course, we have to close the bonds, right? 1.95 million. Close the bonds. And also close the equity component of the convertible bonds. Kan kita close semua tuh. Right? And then what next? Stephanie, if you can guess, we have to issue the common share. So what we gonna credit? The common share. Share capital. Okay, you have to issue share capital. Terbitkan sahamnya, kasih sahamnya, you catat share capital ordinary. Oke, 2000 lembar dikali 50 lembar saham dikali nilai par. Right? And then the difference will be recorded as share premium. Okay. Ya, share premium. Okay. Next. Don't worry, I will share this recording to you on Aula, so you don't need to make very detailed notes, because you can enjoy, you can play the recording. Now, next, the company issued 2,000 shares of $10 par value common stock upon conversion of 1,000 shares of $50 par value preferred stock. Oke, jadi company nerbitkan 2.000 lembar saham biasa yang punya nilai par 10 untuk konversi 1.000 lembar saham preference nilai parnya 50. Okay. The preferred stock was originally issued at $60 per share. And the common stock is trading at 26 per share at the time of conversion. Okay, then record the conversion of the preferred stock. Conversion of preferred stock means you have to close 2 accounts related to the preference share. First, share capital preference and share premium preference. Right? These 2 accounts. Please compute the share capital preference. How much we have the balance. It is 1,000 times 50, right? So we debit share capital preference for 50,000. Okay. Then the share premium related to the preference share adalah berapa? Kalau dulu diterbitkan pada harga 60,
10,000.
Oke, 10,000 share premium. Bentar. Saya keluarkan dulu semua nih. Ya, 10,000. Ini share premiumnya ya. Dan the share capital, the ordinary share yang you terbitkan adalah 2.000 kali 10. Oke. Jadi selisihnya dicatat sebagai share premium ordinary. So what we're gonna do with this $26 which is the market price of the common stock, ini tidak akan kita pakai karena kita tidak keluarkan kas. Ya kan? Kita cuma convert preference share menjadi common share, menjadi ordinary share, sudah. So 26 will not affect the recording. Kita close share capital preference-nya, kita close share premium dari conversion dari si preference share-nya, kemudian kita issue the ordinary share, and then we record the apa namanya share premiumnya for the ordinary. Okay, let me have a minute to take some water. Okay, now let's continue our discussion to the next section, which is executive compensation or share compensation plan. Let me share the PowerPoint. Okay, so now I think it is common practice in business to give key employees a compensation, but not in cash or asset. Instead, business or companies give them an option to purchase the company's share, okay, with certain price, of course, with the lower price within a specific period. Okay, it's like warrant, but these securities are granted to the key employees. Okay? It can be the executives, or it can be any key employees in a company. So effective compensation program include this providing share option to the employees, because the compensation based on performance. So if the executive work harder and creates high profit or high net income, then the share price will be increased, right? The market price of the stock will increase. So by having the option, which gives you a right to purchase the stock in a lower price, your option will be valuable. Oke kan? Jadi you kerja keras, and then you create profit, lalu market price of the share akan increase, tapi you punya option yang sudah kunci harga pada specific rate. So optionmu akan semakin berharga karena ada perbedaan yang jauh antara market price of the share dengan option price-mu. Ya kan? Motivate employees, of course, and then help retain executive and recruit new talent. Okay, by having the share, by having the option, and the option gives you a right to purchase the company's share within a specific period. So you will motivate the executive to retain or to stay in your company, ya kan? At least for this period, during this option period, at least. Otherwise, they can jump, they can move to the more profitable or more to the bigger company. So how to retain how to retain the executive? Give them sharp option, then the option can be executed, can be used within certain period. And sometimes the option asks the executive to stay like several years before executing, before using the option. Di kadang optionnya menyaratkan, mengharuskan eksekutif untuk bertahan dulu di company selama beberapa waktu sebelum dia bisa pakai optionnya. And maximize employees after tax benefit, because this is not a monetary benefit that taxable or can be taxable. So this is stock, so it's non-tax object for certain companies, ya, untuk certain countries memberikan stock option bukan bagian dari kompensasi yang kena pajak. Okay, so how to handle this? So actually, we can give compensation in terms of cash. So if we give compensation in terms of cash, I think it's quite straightforward. You report compensation expense on debit and credit cash. That's finished. But if you give them stock option, and this stock option is part of compensation, and no doubt we have to record compensation expense. But for how much? Then it becomes a problem. So the standard setter guidelines requires companies to recognize compensation using the fair value method. So under the fair value method, companies use acceptable option pricing models to value the option at the date of grant. For this part, I do apologize. I cannot explain the option pricing models because it's quite complex, and I think it is beyond of the learning outcome of this course. Option pricing models. We have many types of option pricing models, and the option pricing models learned in specific profession, specific field. So I will not talk this for deeply. So for this course, we're gonna use whatever the fair value of price of the option provided by the book. So we don't need to do calculation to find the option price. Jadi untuk menghitung option price itu ada rumus spesifiknya, and I will not talk that in this course. So whatever the fair value of the option, then we're going to use that. So the accounting issues, first, how we determine the compensation expense. And then because this option has the option provides a right to buy company's share within a specific period, then we have to think whether the compensation expense can be allocated during that period or not, or can we record the compensation expense once in the year of the option grant, or how do we deal with the period of the option? Jadi berapa compensation expense itu satu isu. Yang kedua, kapan kita catatnya? Apakah kita catat sekali pada saat kita berikan si optionnya ini, atau kita harus distribute compensation expense-nya selama periode tertentu? So first, how to determine the expense? Companies compute total compensation expense based on the fair value of the option. Okay, expected to vest on the date they grant the option to the employees. Okay, I'm sorry, I will mix my language because it's quite complicated. Jadi expense-nya ini ditentukan berdasar fair value of option yang diharapkan akan vest. Vest itu artinya to earn the rights to. If you want to read, it is in your book, page 1614. So there are two footnotes, and footnotes number 6. To vest means to earn the rights to. An employee's award becomes vested at the date that the employee's right to receive or retain share or cash under the award is no longer contingent or remaining in the service of the employer. Jadi to vest itu artinya menjadi berhak untuk dipakai atau untuk dimiliki. Oke, suppose kita grant untuk 5 eksekutif, masing-masing eksekutif misalkan kita kasih 1000 option untuk membeli saham perusahaan. Nah, itu kan grant yang kita kasih tuh. Nah, tapi apakah semua yang kita berikan kepada eksekutif itu nanti harus dicatat sebagai compensation expense? Itu tidak. Karena kita harus tahu dari 5 eksekutif itu bisa jadi tidak semua akan memakai option yang kita tawarkan, ya kan? And then tidak semua juga dari eksekutif tadi bisa bekerja di perusahaan kita selama periode yang dipersyaratkan. Jadi kalau misalkan kita kasih option ke mereka, cuman optionnya begini, you have to stay with our company for at least 2 years, and then after 2 years you can use this option. So jadi ada periode bersyarat, ya kan? So ketika mereka belum melampaui periode bersyarat, itu namanya belum vested. Mereka belum berhak terhadap optionnya, ya kan? Tapi mereka ketika sudah melampaui 2 periode yang disyaratkan, mereka sudah vested. Si optionnya sudah vested, sudah berhak untuk dipakai oleh para eksekutif. Semoga paham nih ya. Jadi ketika kita grant 1000 option untuk masing-masing 5 eksekutif, apakah 1000 dikali 5 itu pasti dipakai oleh 5 eksekutif belum tentu. Jadi kita harus hitung. Nah, the calculation itself, ini yang saya bilang tadi, menggunakan option pricing model yang melibatkan banyak sekali asumsi turnover rate, asumsi kemungkinan eksekutif itu resign lalu pergi gitu ya. Banyak kemungkinan, jadi ada probability, ada banyak hal yang harus kita consider di sana. Maka saya nggak bicara itu. So we gonna use whatever fair value that the book provide to us. Intinya kita harus pakai fair value dari optionnya. Nah, fair value option ini dihitung dengan cara memperhatikan persyaratan-persyaratan kapan optionnya bisa dipakai, memperhitungkan kemungkinan para eksekutif itu memenuhi persyaratan tadi, dan sebagainya, ya. And then how long we recognize the compensation expense. So recognize compensation expense in the period in which employees perform the service or the service period. Jadi compensation expense-nya tidak diakui satu kali saat kita kasih option di granted-nya itu. Tapi kita harus distribute compensation expense sepanjang masa servis yang dipersyaratkan. Tadi misalkan masa servis yang dipersyaratkan berapa? 2 tahun. You harus kerja minimum 2 tahun untuk bisa execute option ini. So, compensation expense-nya itu didistribusi ke 2 tahun ini. Paham ya? Semoga paham. I try my best to explain this. So your friend that absent today, they will regret ya, karena mereka tidak mengikuti langsung. Okay, let's see an example. On November 1st, 2018, the shareholders of Chen Ltd approved a plan that grants the company's 5 executive option to purchase 2,000 shares, each of the company's 100 yen par value ordinary share. Oke, jadi company memberikan 2.000 memberikan option kepada 5 eksekutif, dan 1 option itu bisa dipakai untuk purchase 2,000 shares, 2,000 shares of the company yang nilai parnya adalah 100. The company grants the option on January 1st, 2019. Oke. Nah, optionnya itu, the executives may exercise the option at any time within the next 10 years. Jadi optionnya berlaku 10 tahun. Okay. The option price per share is 6,000. Jadi kalau beli saham perusahaan, cukup bayar 6.000 per share, meskipun market share of the market price of the share pada saat itu, pada saat granted, pada saat kita berikan optionnya adalah 7,000 yen per share. Menarik dong, kan? Di pasar 7.000, saya dengan option ini bisa beli 6.000. Nah, option ini akan lebih berharga kalau market price share-nya naik terus gitu ya, supaya gap antara option price dengan market price-nya semakin tinggi. Now, under the fair value method, the company computes total compensation expense by applying okay, I'm sorry, just the internet connection just stopped. Okay. So to keep the illustration simple, the fair value of the option is 22 million. Okay. So assume that the expected period of benefit is 2 years. This statement meaning that the executive should work with the company for at least 2 years to enjoy the option. Oke, jadi ini adalah periode yang disyaratkan. Mereka kerja nih 2 tahun di tempat saya. Setelah itu saya kasih option, you bisa pakai 10 tahun. Oke. So the compensation expense according to the option pricing model adalah 22 million. Then we have to record the compensation expense in these 2 periods by debiting compensation expense and crediting share premium, share option in 2 periods. Okay. Sudah. So at the grant date there is no entry. Pada tanggal kita kasih option belum ada entry. Entry-nya baru ada di akhir periode yang dipersyaratkan, yaitu di 31st December 2019 and 31st December 2020. Okay, and now the executives already had the option. Now assume if Chen's executive exercise 2,000 of the 10,000 options. So we provide 10,000, right? Because 2,000 times 5 executive, right?
Sorry, sir, may I interrupt that?
Yes.
For the slide before, in the compensation expense, I want to ask why is it divided by 2?
Okay, karena tadi saya bilang assume that the expected period of benefit is 2 years. Artinya para eksekutif itu diminta kerja 2 tahun starting the grant date untuk bisa exercise the option. Jadi itu permintaan dari perusahaannya, eksekutif kerja dulu 2 tahun sebelum akhirnya nanti optionnya bisa dipakai. Artinya si compensation expense ini didistribusi di 2 tahun yang dipersyaratkan, ya. Tidak di satu kali pada saat tahun kita kasih tahun 2019, enggak, karena di tahun depannya 2020 dia masih harus kerja juga. Gitu ya. Okay. So now assume the executives exercise 2,000 of the option dari 10.000 yang sudah kita berikan. 2.000 kita berikan, 5 eksekutif masing-masing dapat 2.000. Jadi 10.000. Nah, sekarang eksekutif cuma exercise 2.000. Jadi 20% of the option. On June 1st, 2022, 3 years and 5 months after grant date. So, karena tadi si optionnya itu di-exercise dengan harga 6.000 ya. Jadi kalau si eksekutifnya pakai option, they gonna pay 2,000 times 6,000 yen. So the company receive 2.000 kali 6.000 yen cash. Okay. And then kita tadi punya share premium from previous slide. Si optionnya ini dicatat sebagai share premium. Oke, share premium, share option. Oke. 22 juta. Ya kan? Nah, kita punya share premium untuk mencatat optionnya 22 juta. Kalau 20%-nya di-exercise, berarti 20% dari share premium harus kita tutup, which is 20% times 22 million, ya, 4.4 million. Oke, dan kita issue share capital ordinary 200,000 dari 2.000 saham dikali par value-nya 100, kemudian share premium ordinary. Nah, ingat, please remember we still have 80% of the option. Oke, 80% of the option kita masih punya. Ini yang di-exercise cuma 20%. Now, if Chan's executive fail to exercise the remaining share options before their expiration date, kenapa kok fail untuk mengexercise optionnya sebelum optionnya expired? Many reasons. One, they may leave the company. Ya kan, mereka bisa leave the company, mereka resign, udah pergi. Jadi optionnya tidak di-exercise. Many reason lah ya untuk akhirnya eksekutifnya fail to exercise the option. Nah, please remember we still have 80% of share premium optionnya. Then we have to close the share premium share option by debiting the share premium and record this as expired share option. Okay, expired share option. Now the problem is now related with the compensation expense yang kita sudah catat. Kita udah catat 22 juta loh compensation expense. Terus ternyata yang di exercise cuma 20%. Jadi yang 80% expense tempo hari kita catat. Itu ngapain? Paham ya? Kita udah terlanjur nyatet 22 juta compensation expense, mengurangi net income, itu jadi pengurang net income. Tapi finally yang dieksekusi, yang di-exercise cuma 20%. Yang 80% kan kayak earnings management ya kan. Jadinya kayak nyatet expense tapi nggak jadi gitu peristiwanya. Maka share option accounting ini bisa dipakai sebagai alat untuk doing earnings management. Udah kamu bikin saja ekspektasi yang tinggi, nanti expense-nya besar, catat, ngurangi net income, ngurangi pajak, ngurangi dividen, lumayan gitu ya. Tapi toh sebenarnya nggak terjadi apa-apa gitu. kan sial banget itu pemegang sahamnya. Nah, so the question now, nah ini, can it be changed in the future? Pak, yang udah terlanjur compensation expense-nya gimana itu? Itu nanti jadi pergunjinan pemegang saham saat RUPS ini, kamu udah pernah nyatet 22 juta expense, kita jadi nggak dapat dividen. Ya ternyata yang terjadi cuma 20%. Nah, guys, bisa nggak disesuaikan expense yang sudah kelewat itu? Ya kalau kita sesuaikan kemana lagi, expense-nya sudah nggak ada. Expense-nya sudah di-close pada tahun 2019 dan tahun 2020. Kan kita sekarang di tahun 2029. It's far behind us. It is 10 years ago expense gitu. Terus gimana? Nah, expense yang sudah terlanjur dicatat itu bisa disesuaikan atau tidak tergantung persyaratan optionnya sendiri. Oke. Atau tergantung peristiwanya. Jadi peristiwa apakah kita perlu menyesuaikan atau tidak. Kalau peristiwa yang menyebabkan yang 80% akhirnya expired itu disebabkan karena service condition. Jadi service condition ini apa? Service condition ini artinya si eksekutif atau si employee tidak bisa memenuhi persyaratan yang kita mau. Condition ini kan persyaratan ya, jadi jangan diterjemahkan kondisi, tapi persyaratan yang kita mau. Jadi si eksekutif itu ngomong Indonesia brengsek aja, dia nggak bisa memenuhi persyaratan yang kita minta. Misalkan dia disuruh kerja 2 tahun loh bertahan, tahun pertama udah minggat. Jadi kan nggak memenuhi service condition yang kita minta gitu ya. Atau misalkan ada yang resign, ada yang meninggal dan sebagainya, sehingga service condition-nya nggak terpenuhi. Pada akhirnya ini expired karena para eksekutifnya memang tidak bisa memenuhi persyaratan service yang diminta. Kadang service condition-nya itu menyaratkan level net income tertentu, bahkan di praktek itu kalau net income-nya mencentuh angka sekian, optionnya kamu bisa pakai. Nah, kan ini susah juga nih kalau mau mencapai service condition semacam ini. Ada juga teman-teman, adjustment ini muncul, peristiwanya ini muncul karena market condition. Contoh, tadi kan kita set harga optionnya 6.000. Sementara harga pasar sahamnya 7.000. Kan menarik tuh. Saya punya kupon untuk beli saham yang harganya 7.000, cukup bayar 6.000. Bagaimana kalau terjadi sesuatu, harga pasar sahamnya turun, sehingga option ini jatuhnya lebih mahal daripada beli di pasar. Kan ini nggak bernilai akhirnya. So there is no value. Itu yang disebut dengan, kalau Anda belajar option, itu yang disebut dengan out of money. Jadi ada option itu yang in money, ada yang out money. In money itu ketika tadi itu harga sahamnya di pasar 7.000, harga option 6.000. Kita punya spare, kita punya keuntungan kira-kira 1.000. Itu namanya in money. Itu masa yang terbaik untuk mengeksekusi atau mengexercise optionnya. Udah pakai aja optionnya, kamu bisa dapat saham harga 6.000, terus langsung jual cepetan biar kamu untung 1.000 kan gitu ya. Tapi kalau out money kebalik, harga optionnya 6.000, harga pasar saham turun misalkan sampai 4.000. Nah, dalam situasi seperti itu siapa yang mau exercise optionnya? Orang nggak ada lah, optionnya nggak bernilai. Nah, teman-teman semua, accounting standard mengizinkan penyesuaian terhadap expense yang sudah kelewat itu hanya kalau muncul peristiwa terkait service condition. Jadi ketika executives, employee tidak bisa memenuhi persyaratan that requires by the company, yang kemudian akhirnya si optionnya ini expired, hanya pada saat itu kita bisa adjust compensation expense. Tapi kalau peristiwanya muncul dari market condition karena harga pasar saham yang turun, itu nggak boleh dilakukan adjustment. Oke. Please read further the concept in your book, page 16, 14, and 16, 15. These 2 pages are very important, especially 16, 15, related to the adjustment of the share compensation expense. Terus kalau kita boleh adjust, gimana caranya? Ada 2 cara. Yang pertama, you mengkredit compensation expense di tahun penyesuaian. Yang itu agak tidak common sih ya. Masa expense dikredit? Ya dengan asumsi tahun ini, tahun adjustment ini ada compensation expense juga. Jadi ada debit, ada kredit gitu. So reducing your compensation expense for the current period. Atau you adjust ke retained earnings. Karena kan compensation expense yang lalu kan ada di retained earnings. Udah ketutup ke retained earnings. Jadi kita adjustnya ke retained earnings. Ya itu juga bisa. Tapi untuk adjust retained earnings, Anda harus ada consent, harus ada persetujuan dari shareholders. Karena retained earnings itu nanti dipakai bayar dividen ya. Ingat chapter 15. Kan retained earnings dipakai bayar dividen, you kurangi untuk ngoreksi kesalahanmu. Kan bahaya itu. Oke. So I will stop at that point. So I cannot achieve my goal, which is 50 slide. However, we still have another slide for this part. So next week, please tell your friend to come to attend the class, because this topic is quite challenging, it's quite tough. So I will stop at this point. After this, you still have post-test and take your time to do, and by reading the book, by doing more exercise. And I also give you a video from Professor Farhad. He's very clever, he's very genius. He explained everything clear. So please watch the video to enrich your understanding. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your attention. Stay safe, stay healthy. And let me close this. And Stephanie, please send your letter. Let me close. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.